A Christmas Carol, page 268, scene 5, The Spirit of Christmas Yet to Come. Scrooge is entirely alone for a long moment. He is frightened by the darkness and feels it approaching him. Suddenly he stops, senses the presence of a third spirit, turns towards him, and sees him. The spirit is bent and cloaked. No physical features are distinguishable. "You are the third." The spirit says nothing. "The ghost of Christmas yet to come." The spirit says nothing. "Speak to me. Tell me what is to happen to me, to all of us." The spirit says nothing. "Then show me what I must see." The spirit points. Light illuminates to the shadowy recess of Scrooge's house. I know it too well. Cold and cheerless. It's mine." The cook and the charwoman are dimly visible in Scrooge's house. "What is... There are thieves? There are thieves in my room?" He starts forward to accost them, but the spirit beckons for him to stop. "I cannot. You cannot tell me that I must watch them and do nothing. I will not. It is mine still." He rushes into the house to claim his belongings and to protect them. The two women did not notice his presence. "He ain't about, is he?" The charwoman laughed. Poor old Scrooge has met his end. She laughs with the charwoman. "And time for it, too. Ain't been alive, indeed, for half his life. But the Sparsit's nowhere, is he?" Emerging from the blackness. "Looking for someone, ladies?" The cook shrieks, but the charwoman treats the matter more practically, anticipating competition from Sparsit. "There ain't enough, but for the two of us." "More ain't enough, if you know where to look." "Hardly decent is what I'd say. Hardly decent. The poor old fellow hardly cold, and you're thieving his wardrobe? You're here out of love, are you?" "There's no time for that." Sparsit acknowledges Scrooge for the first time, gesturing towards him as if the living Scrooge were the corpse. Scrooge stands as if rooted to the spot, held there by the power of the spirit. "He ain't about to bother us, is he? Ain't he a picture? If he is, it ain't a happy one." They laugh. "Lady, shall we start?" The three of them grin and advance on Scrooge. "Cook!" Snatching the cufflinks from the shirt Scrooge wears. "They're gold, ain't they?" "They appear as, madam." "I always had a fancy for that nightcap of his. My old man could use it." She takes the nightcap from Scrooge's head. Sparsit playfully removes Scrooge's outer garment, the coat or cloak that he has worn in the previous scenes. Being a man of more practical tastes, I'll go for the worsted, and hope the smell ain't permanent. The three laugh. "Cook, we go round again. Do you think that little bell he's always ringing at me is silver enough to sell?" The three of them move towards the nightstand, and Scrooge cries out, "No more! No more!" As the spirit directs Scrooge's attention towards the tableau of the three thieves standing poised over the silver bell, Scrooge bursts out of the house, clad only in his nightshirt. I cannot. The room is too like a cheerless place that is familiar. I won't see it. Let us go from here. Anywhere." The spirit directs his attention to the Cratchit's house. The children are sitting together near Mrs. Cratchit, who is sewing a coat. Peter reads by the light of the coals. "And he took a child and set him in the midst of them," putting his hand to her face. "That light tires my eyes so. They're better now. It makes them tired to try to see by the firelight. And I wouldn't show reddened eyes to your father when he comes home for the world. It must be near his time now. Past it, I think, but he walks slower than he used to these last few days, Mother. I have known him to walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulder very fast indeed." She catches herself, then hurries on. "But he was very light to carry, and his father loved him, so that it was no trouble. She hears Bob Cratchit approaching. "Smiles, everyone, smiles." "My dear Peter," — he greets the other children by their names, — "how is it coming?" "It is very good, Mother." "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it coming?" — "It is very good." — "How is it handing him the coat. "Nearly done." "Yes, good. I'm sure that it will be done long before Sunday." "Sunday? You went there today then, Robert?" "Yes. It's all ready. 2 o'clock, in a nice place. It would have done you good to see how green it was. But you'll see it often. I promised him that I would walk him there on Sunday. Often. We mustn't hurt ourselves for it, Robert." "No, no. He wouldn't have wanted that. Come now. You won't guess who I've seen. Scrooge's nephew Fred. And he asked after us and said he was heartily sorry and to give his respect to my good wife. How how he ever knew that, I don't know." "Knew what, my dear?" "Why, that you're a good wife. Everybody knows that." "I hope that they do. Heartily sorry," he said, "for your good wife, and if I can be of service to you in any way," and he gave me his card, "that's where I live. And Peter, I shouldn't be at all surprised if he got you a position." "Only hear that, Peter. And then you'll be keeping company with some young girl and setting up for yourself." "Oh, go on." "Well, it will happen one day, but remember, when that day does come, as it must, we must none of us forget poor Tiny Tim and this first parting in our family." "He died." "No, no." He steps back and the scene disappears, but he moves away from the spirit.